Okay, two-part series. In part one, I'm going to be going into detail about AI and the job market. In part two, I'm going to be discussing the unemployment rate and how it's disproportionately impacting young men and what can be done about it. So we're going to go through a bunch of articles here. First things first, World Economic Forum study predicts 83 million jobs are set to vanish globally by 2027. This headline is slightly misleading as it also anticipates 69 million new jobs will be created, leaving a gap of roughly 14 million jobs. So essentially, they're predicting that 14 million jobs will be lost by 2027. Moving right along, Forbes. Goldman Sachs predicts 300 million jobs will be lost or degraded by artificial intelligence. Al Jazeera. IBM to freeze hiring as CEO expects AI to replace 7,800 jobs. IBM CEO Arvind Krishna said he could easily see nearly one-third of the company's non-customer-facing roles being replaced in the next 5 years. These non-customer-facing roles amount to roughly 26,000 workers, Krishna said. I could easily see 30% of that getting replaced by AI and automation over a 5-year period. Now, I just want to pause real quick and provide some context. It's important to remember that these large language models, or LLMs, and chatbots, they haven't even been around for 6 months, and already we're seeing these types of headlines. So it's just something to keep in mind. Moving along, Chegg, the self-proclaimed education technology company. Now, Chegg is basically a website and app that contains answers to homework, quizzes, tests, etc. for hundreds of colleges and universities. I think they have about 3 million subscribers. Stock tumbles nearly 50% after the edtech company said its customers are using ChatGPT instead of paying for its study tools. Oh boy. Lately, I've been hearing about how people are leveraging chatbots to conduct repetitive tasks at work. Essentially, people have been outsourcing these tasks to the chatbots to the extent that they've been able to pick up second jobs, part-time jobs, and this article talks to a couple people who are doing just that. Currently working a side job marketing a tech company's new products, Ben told Vice's Motherboard that he uses ChatGPT to do everything from write reports to putting together storyboards and presentations. That's the only reason I got my job this year. ChatGPT does like 80% of my job if I'm being honest. Now, Ben is using a pseudonym because there is currently a stigma with using chatbots and other AI tools to complete work tasks. Another worker, whose name was changed to Daniel, uses ChatGPT to put together emails for his job as the director of a tech company. Now, I would imagine that this is extremely common amongst workers across the board. I personally know a handful of people that are constantly using chatbots to complete work tasks, and it's only going to grow more widespread as more and more people learn to use these tools. Moving right along. In the real estate industry, realtors and brokers are using ChatGPT to write property descriptions. So let's check out what this guy has to say.
So what are some of the ways that you could use it? Well, one would be a listing description that you can have it write. Let's take a look at what that would look like. So you can see in this example, I put in a prompt to ChatGPT to ask it to write a listing description on a property based on a few features. And you can see what it has put together here. Now I could ask it to regenerate it. I could add more features. I could use something like this for a social media post or for a newsletter or something like that. So you can see where it can help you come up with creative words and how to put something together that would be attractive to put out to your clients and to market a property. And that's really just scratching the surface of what you could do with ChatGPT.
So I would imagine that this is probably what the majority of people are using the chatbots to do right now, is just typing in a simple prompt and having the chatbot spit out a piece of content, real estate descriptions, social media posts, emails, simple tasks like this, but also things that bog people down throughout the workday. Let's talk a little bit about how chatbots are being used in schools by both students and teachers. Headline: Educators battle plagiarism as 89% of students admit to using OpenAI's ChatGPT for homework. Reading from the article, 48% of students admitted to using ChatGPT for an at-home test or quiz. 53% had it write an essay, and 22% had it write an outline for a paper. So this article is over 3 months old, so I would imagine these percentages are significantly higher at this point. But it's not just students. Teachers and educators are also using AI tools. From the article again, meanwhile, 5% of educators say that they have used ChatGPT to teach a class, and 7% have used the platform to create writing prompts. So teachers are also using chatbots to create instruction materials. And while these seem like low percentages, it's important to keep in mind that when translated to real-world numbers, that's like tens of thousands of teachers and educators. Again, we're still in the infancy stage of this technology. It's only going to increase from here. In academia, ChatGPT is being used to write research papers and scientific journal entries. Sam Biswas, a radiologist at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, has been utilizing ChatGPT to write a number of research papers. Biswas has used OpenAI's chatbot to write at least 16 papers in 4 months and publish 5 articles in 4 different journals. The latest was published as a commentary in the journal Pediatric Radiology on April 28th. In it, Biswas is listed as the sole author, with an acknowledgement at the end that ChatGPT wrote the article and he edited it. That's hard to say. The papers he generates aren't limited to topics within his radiology expertise. In fact, he's used the bot to write papers on the role of ChatGPT in the military, education, agriculture, social media, insurance, law, and microbiology. He's successfully had these published in journals specializing in different niche disciplines. Continuing on in the article, there's been a really dramatic uptick in the different articles that we've been getting. Stefan Duma, a professor of engineering at Virginia Tech, told the Daily Beast. In the past few months, he said he's seen an exponential increase in the number of different papers submitted for publication in his journal. Now that's relevant because we're going to see that this is a trend not just in the world of academia, but in the world of fiction writing and science fiction writing in particular. Such is the case with the science fiction and fantasy magazine publication Clarkesworld. Apparently, Clarkesworld takes submissions from its readers, and the submissions that are accepted are actually used in the publication, and those people are paid. Quoting from the article, by the time we closed on the 20th, around noon, we had received 700 legitimate submissions and 500 machine-written ones. It was increasing at such a rate that we figured that by the end of the month, we would have to double the number of submissions we normally have. I believe there's also been an increase in freelance and independent authors submitting books to Amazon as well. But this isn't just limited to the chatbots. Oh no, we also have AI art generators like Midjourney and dall-e 2. Recently, there was a photographer who submitted an AI photograph to a photography competition and won. Boris L. Dodgson won the competition, but actually ended up rescinding the award money because he admitted that the image was created by AI and he just wanted to bring awareness to this new technology. Quoting from him, just as photography replaced painting in the reproduction of reality, AI will replace photography. Don't be afraid of the future. It will just be more obvious that our mind always created the world that makes it suffer. That's pretty deep from L. Dodgson. Deep thoughts. And let's go to the world of music. So I'm sure, as everyone is aware, AI generated a song featuring Drake and The Weeknd that actually went viral on a number of platforms. Universal Music Group was, of course, infuriated by this and demanded the song be taken down, which it was after a few days. This is just another example of how AI does a tremendous job of recreating content, and people have no idea that it wasn't created by a human. Again, folks, this technology is in its infancy stage. It's only been around for a few months to a year, and we're already to the point where people cannot tell the difference. What about the world of video games? Ubisoft proudly announces AI is helping write dialogue. So apparently they created software called Ghostwriter, and what it does is it writes dialogue for NPCs. This is probably one of the more mundane, repetitive tasks that employees have to partake in. And now they could just outsource it to AI, where you have characters in the video game that are not crucial to the overall plot of the game. They're just side characters, but they still need to appear realistic. What better tool than AI to create their dialogue? Let's talk a little bit about the writer's strike. So, the Writers Guild of America is on strike currently. They have a list of demands. AI is one of the primary issues they're concerned with. Christina Dirks tweeted, "I would also say very firmly that AI is a threat to singers and all musicians." Philip responds, "AI is not just a threat to writers. Actors and directors need to be just as worried about this technology." That's probably true. So, the writers are striking. The writers are angry. In their list of demands, we see that artificial intelligence is listed right here. Regulate use of artificial intelligence on MBA-covered projects. AI can't write or rewrite literary material, can't be used as a source material, and MBA-covered material can't be used to train AI. Now, this was in their initial list of demands. Since then, they've changed their tune slightly. Let's see what they're saying currently. This is from Variety. WGA would allow artificial intelligence in script writing as long as writers maintain credit. WGA has proposed allowing artificial intelligence to write scripts as long as it does not affect writers' credits or residuals. Interesting. The proposal would allow a writer to use ChatGPT to help write a script without having to share writing credit or divide residuals. Or a studio executive could hand the writer an AI-generated script to rewrite or polish, and the writer would still be considered the first writer on the project. So it sounds to me like the writers realize that, holy shit, this technology is not going anywhere, so we either need to hop on board with this trend or we're going to be left in the dust. Also, they probably see just how convenient and practical it is to use the AI. So what it sounds like they're trying to do is strong-arm studios into essentially paying them to do very minimal work, editing, rewriting, touch-up work on AI-generated scripts. Now, in my opinion, this is not going to have any standing. I mean, you can already see that on the initial proposal, it was rejected when it comes to the AI terms. So the AMPTP, or Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, they saw the writing on the wall and they were like, there's no way we're agreeing to this. They might come to some sort of compromise, but in my personal opinion, what the writers are requesting here, it's not realistic. The reality is these chatbots can easily pump out a script within seconds, and they simply don't need all these writers to proofread the AI scripts. Plus, they're going to continue to get better and better. And as that happens, pretty soon you're not even going to need people to proofread them at all, or the AI is going to proofread their own scripts. So what I see is a massive consolidation in this industry, as I see with many industries, but certainly these creative industries where AI is seemingly able to recreate this type of content at ease. So let's check out this video for more context about the strike.
Less than 6 months since ChatGPT hit the world stage, unease around artificial intelligence is starting to spread across multiple industries, including in Hollywood. In addition to seeking better pay, anxiety over chatbots writing or rewriting scripts is one of the reasons screenwriters took to picket lines earlier this week.
We need to make it clear there needs to be a human writer in charge, and we're not trying to be gig workers just revising what AI does.
We don't want corporations to decide that AI can replace us, because it would be cheaper for them. Good for them. That's a smart business move, but it is not a human move.
So that's a very interesting point that guy just made. Let's listen to that one more time.
We don't want corporations to decide that AI can replace us, because it would be cheaper for them. Good for them. That's a smart business move, but it is not a human move.
Good for them. That is a smart business move. So the reason I think that's an interesting point is because it has larger ramifications to the system of capitalism. And I'm going to play a video from economist Richard Wolff, who discusses this in more detail.
Every capitalist is always trying to either make more money or survive competitively by saving on his labor costs. One capitalist does it by substituting machines for working people, automating, getting a computer to do what he used to have 50 people do. So capitalists are always trying to save on labor costs because they can make a better profit if they do that.
We don't want corporations to decide that AI can replace us because it would be cheaper for them. Good for them. That's a smart business move.
But here comes the contradiction. If all capitalists are reducing the number of workers they pay or reducing the pay they give to their workers, what will result is that the working people have less and less money. And if they have less and less money, they can't buy what the capitalists are producing to sell. The capitalists, therefore, are destroying themselves, but they have no choice. They have to save on the labor outlay, and then that comes back and bites them in the rear end because there's no demand.
So Mr. Wolf is basically illustrating the contradiction of capitalism. Although I'm not a Marxist or a communist, I agree with this particular criticism. This is another video that goes into the subject in more detail.
A lot of people, and even economists for that matter, get some comfort in the fact that if machines and artificial intelligence take all of our jobs, then nobody would have any income to buy the goods and services that these machines were producing. Governments, or maybe even the businesses themselves that invest into fully automating the production process, would be forced to provide people with some kind of income, or their business would have nobody left to sell to and would make no profit. Imagine a hypothetical future where perfect humanoid robots are combined with artificial general intelligence that is as independent as any real person. Eventually, if profit-driven companies can replace their entire workforce with machines, then large parts of the population will have very limited or no income at all, which kinda sounds like it defeats the purpose because then who will the companies sell their goods and services to make profits in the first place?
This is obviously a very exaggerated hypothetical scenario, but the underlying point is relevant, and again, illustrates the contradictory nature of a capitalistic system in a technologically advanced society. Let's continue on.
Some jobs are now obsolete, but all of these technologies are fully mature, and most major economies around the world right now have record low unemployment.
So this brings us to our next topic, which is unemployment, and how unemployment data can often be misleading when it's presented to the public. And I'm also going to talk about a particularly profitable career path that for some reason is being ignored by Gen Z. So be sure to check out part 2 of this video series coming soon.